Hi, Amar. Hello, Amar. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mani. One second. The recording ஆரம்பிச்சிடுச்சு. I think we can.
Oh, yeah. Let me.
One second. Hold on.
I'll pause that. Thank you. All right. It's already 5 minutes past scheduled time, so we can get started. Good morning, one and all. Thanks for registering and joining us in the first session of BA Unplugged for 2024. It is really great to see all who has joined today, and it's motivating to see the participants early on a Sunday morning, right? And this BA Unplugged is an initiative by the IABA Chennai chapter to help its members connect with the business analysis experts from various industries and across various areas of interest. I'm esteemed to welcome Mr. Sarvana Kumar as the guest speaker for our first session today. He is a business analysis competency head at Renault Nissan. Mr. Sarvana Kumar has over 22 years of experience in automobile engineering and specialized working more in areas of CAD, PDM, and PLM, including development, configuration, customization, testing, integration, and data migration. His interest and passion is towards the product lifecycle management on engineering. He loves to solve strong problems and very keen to learn more on data analysis skills. Without any further ado, let me hand over the session to Mr. Sarvana Kumar. And thanks everyone once again.
Yeah. Thank you, Manivel. Is it audible now?
Yes, I'm able to.
Yes, able to.
Okay, I'll just share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
I can.
Yeah. Thanks, Manivel, for the introduction. I'm very happy that today, due to Sunday, I think I thought there will be less participants, but I heard a lot of people have been joined. So today, I just want to give an overview about the business analyst in automobile industry. So that's the topic. On agenda, I just want to give some business analyst rule, and there is a story which try to explain few scenarios and functions in auto industries and importance of VA in any domain and importance of VA role in auto industries and what are the opportunities what we have in the business analyst role in auto industry, and then conclusion. So before I start this, I just want to ask one question. Maybe probably you can raise thumbs up and show whether you would agree, or maybe how many of you are willing to take BA role across the industries, maybe like healthcare, finance, banking, automobile. Is it something, are you willing to take any kind of area? Amar, or you want to run this poll and then?
Yeah, I have just
Okay,
launched the
okay,
poll.
okay,
So
okay.
to get the input from people
Yeah,
on
I'll
which
wait
domain they are working in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can see finance. So 8 people have responded. So people more on finance and others. So probably for the others, we will get to know.
Maybe that is insurance.
Yeah, might be.
Healthcare and other things.
So, so automobile we have nobody yet.
Okay.
HR is no more, and retail we don't have. So at least I think it would we have 1% in automobile. Great. And we have others. So probably that I would like maybe people can who have voted others. Can you put in the chat on which domain you are at so that it will be easy for us to understand that parts as well. So we have 1%, 2% from automobile, Saravanan.
Yeah.
It would be interesting for them. So a lot of questions from them can expect. Healthcare, public safety, software domain, and we have, okay, that's the other domains here. Okay, so I'm not a BA, but I am into an enterprise architect. Okay, no problem. Good stuff. Okay, so Saran, I think we got
Yeah,
response.
fine.
So I think the majority is in finance as of now. Okay, and
Good.
others. Okay, so I will end the poll now for the
Yeah.
moment. Yeah. So that's the spread of across of our today's participants domain at working. Saran,
Yeah,
hope you
thanks, Amar. I think this could be much more interesting. So probably
good.
during the
Yeah.
conclusion, probably you can have your answers on your mind that whether you want to work across the domains or you want to be in the same domain. We will discuss during our QA also. Okay, fine. So now coming to this, I just want to give some base because many of you are aware about the business analyst, what they are doing, and in terms of different areas, you are following different process. I just want to give a few information. First thing is questioning the business to get more details, which is a very important aspect because many times this skill is very much important in terms of any role, whatever you are going to do. But for especially business analysts, the questioning is much more important to get more details. That is something we need to do it. Then understand the user needs because many times we will think more on the technology or sustainability or a solution which can be enhance the needs of the business, but we may not really get the user needs, what exactly they needs. So that is something we want to understand the user needs and elicit the requirement, because when you start elicit the requirement you would get more and more details and you have to interact with them again and try to clarify all your queries, and then you could create a right user story for them. And then stakeholder alignment, this is also one of the important aspect because if you are going to connect with some of the stakeholder, maybe a particular department user, probably you think all the data has been collected, but there is another department maybe using this kind of data, so you might miss those information. So probably we need to understand the users in terms of the stakeholders across the department. That is going to help you a lot because in terms of moving all these things into the production, we would end up certain situation where some of the stakeholder may denying the functionality. And finally, the technology to fit the business needs, which is also very important. So if you coin all these words, you could see here, if you coin all these words, it's more like quest. So what I mean to say here is, if you want to find something, you need to find or obtain it by asking all these areas. So questioning, understanding the business needs, and elicit the requirement, and stakeholder alignment, and technology to fit the business needs. So pretty much, I thought this area, which is something really important. So I want to explain this in a small story. Probably I need more interactive on this story discussion so that it would be helpful for me also to have more overview about your questions, and then I can also answer based on this. Okay, so now you apply the quest principle on this scenario. Okay, so the first point is the requirement is count the number of apples. So that's the requirement. And now we all just want to discuss some of the various options. So for this, I'll try to give some scenarios so that you try and pick what will be your choice of it. So the solution one is something you want to count all the number of apples through a manual way. So you need to hire some labor and you need to do this activity. And there will be a solution two where you do have a artificial intelligence or machine learning should detect all these apples and then try to give it in the digital way. So that would be a much faster options for you. That is more on towards the technology. And there is another third way where you could say a kind of a concept that based on the algorithm, maybe in terms of a Gen AI, you can use all those learning models and say in last year how much it has been and collected, and now this year how much would be collected. So you could have some algorithm. It is not real, but it's more like you can predict this much numbers will be there. So now I just want you all to reciprocate this scenario. Count the number of apples. Can you just tell me what are the questions you would ask? So it would be much more useful if you ask these kind of questions. So just try to pour, if this is a scenario, what are the questions you would ask to the person? Maybe that will be a product owner or a business owner. Any answers?
Hi, Sinanan.
Yeah,
Maybe I would ask why you would want to count the apples and how many trees are there to
exactly.
gauge
Yes.
the, yeah.
So now I just want you all to pour all the kind of different sort of questions. That's the first part. We will go into the next. Okay. Okay, fine. That's a good point. Any other points?
Hello, Saravanan. And
Yeah.
what is the time given to count the apples?
Okay. Okay. Timeline. You want to understand the timeline. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would ask if it is only for apples, or are you planning in the future to extend this to any other type of
Okay.
trees?
Fine. Fine. Good.
Who is the customer for these apples?
Okay. Okay.
Why should we count the apple first?
Yes. Exactly. True.
Is there any size difference should we check while collecting the count of apple?
Okay. Fine.
Is it just
Should
one
we count it?
tree
Ah.
that you need to check, or all of them that are there in the farm?
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay.
I
So
was
yes. Yes,
sorry,
please.
sorry. I was about to say like whether we should count it without plucking it from the tree or after plucking it.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay, so now probably yes, I think many of you have already shared the question of why and what was the plan, all other things, right? So I just want to give one scenario. In this scenario, when there is an ask of count the number of apples, the why question is very important, and what they have done earlier. Okay, so is it something as this process, right? So maybe this is the first time they are doing this, or probably last year how they have done this kind of thing, and why there is a need of kind of counting this apple. So anyhow you are going to collect all the apples and then you want to bundle it in the boxes, right? So we need to understand the point where last year how they have done it. So that is very important for us. Okay, maybe one person talk about the time, right? So we don't have time right now, so probably they want to count it quickly, so that or they can identify the number of labor for this action. And someone asked about number of trees, which is also very important, so they may ask to count the number of apples, and probably they may not tell how many trees are there. Okay, so in terms of giving a right estimates for any of this kind of activity, we need to understand the access process, what they have done earlier and why they are asking now, and what is the future plan for it. So these three things which is very important, because they are not going to straight away do this first time. If that is the first time, and we need to understand the primary reason. So if you go and ask these kind of questions to them, whatever the question you ask, no, the development team will ask us, okay, what was the action item for this item? We need to again go back to this. So now I will put in this kind of question is very, very important to know for us. We need to be very much clear on the thoughts that why this person is asking for this, what was the problem statement which he is going to address by doing this activity. So that is one part. And coming to the next part, as I mentioned in the last slide, questioning is very important, and understanding the user needs and elicit the requirement. And the last 2 points, stakeholder and technology. So who is the customer for this? So I'm counting all these things and what they are going to do. This is something you are connecting with the downstream of it. So they want to pack of hundreds and put it in the box. So that is the ideal scenario. Or they just want to collect everything and they want to make sure a kind of estimates that, okay, how many apples has been grown this year. So that is something like for an owner, they want to collect some data and the stakeholder alignment, which is also very important. So now I'm going to give some more solutions to you all so that which one you will choose. So the first solution which I am trying to give here, okay, there are 50 apple trees out there. The solution one talks about, okay, this 50 apple trees will have many number of apples. So they are going to do it in a manual way. So they are going to hire 10 people, and for a week they have to go there and they have to pluck all the apples. That's the activity, and they will say that, okay, this is my estimation, this is what the solution which they are going to give. So this really demands the labor, the timeline, and the cost. That's over. Then there is another person coming in terms of the technology, and they are telling in a way, such a way that, okay, I have a technological advancement tool I have. So I have a pad which I try to install this kind of program. This will scan each of the trees and will count the number of apples, and you will get it easily in a digital way. It should not take more than a half a day. I need to go to each tree and I need to scan the tree, and I will get the number of apples through the artificial intelligence, and I will collect this number of apples tree and I will show it to you. So this will not take more than a day. So now in this case, the time is saved and there is no much labor here, but the cost of those product like that would be much more costlier. Okay, but the work would be much faster for this case. So this is the second case. Then there is a third solution which I'm trying to give. There is another person comes and say that I can easily get this number of apples in the trees in 2 days. So he is telling that I need to deploy some white screen in the background, and I have some product which is customized. This will work for any number of trees. So it will also work for mango, it will also work for apple, it will also work for a guava, something they are telling. And this kind of third solution requires some kind of infrastructure setup. So they need to put a kind of white screen in the background, and then it will be covered, and then they are going to do this kind of activity. So they call it as some kind of a product for their own. So these are the three solutions, and this the second solution is takes about 2 days, and they are telling that this also will give the information. So now, as think about yourself as a product owner. In this case, you are the owner. So these three vendors or three persons comes and give some estimates, and these three persons give this kind of solutions to you. Which one you will choose? I'm telling that you are the owner of it. So which one you will choose and why? These two questions, try to give some answers. That would be much more interesting for you to give some eye opener on certain elements. Everybody
Hi.
clear on these three solutions right now? These three solutions are clear, right? For you, any questions on these three solutions?
Hi.
Okay.
So my
Yes.
answer is third option. Reason being
Okay.
because they also give technology for other products, right?
Yes.
So because it is not that I'm going to deal with one particular product, I may have
Yeah.
multiple product. Maybe infrastructure, okay, additional cost will happen. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's okay. But my choice is my third one.
So you are choosing because this can be extended to many other products, right? So for any other forms, we can also use it. Am I right?
Yeah. If I go
Okay.
for other options, I have to stick with one particular product.
Yes.
And later on, if I want to move, I mean, they make any enhancement, then again I have to spend some additional cost, right?
Okay.
So
Good.
instead, I can go with the third option. So that way, I'll get benefit.
Good. Any other points?
I
No,
I
that's it.
think it
Yeah.
depends on a case by case basis. It depends
Yeah.
on what budget I have, what is the upfront cost that I'm able to put in, and what is the
No, no.
ongoing cost or maintenance cost.
Is assume you are the owner. Now I'm giving this through solutions. You have to choose which one for you. So just
So
think about you are the owner and try to choose what would be the right option you would pick.
Right. So if I'm the owner and if I have only apple trees
Mm.
and I don't have any other farms, then I wouldn't
Okay.
spend my money on the third
Yes.
option.
Okay. Okay. So what
And
would
if
you
it's only
choose?
seasonal, and
Okay.
if it's only seasonal and if I have enough labor available,
Hmm.
I would go for first option also.
First option. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Any other
So I
choice?
think now. So
Good.
second one would come into play when I don't want to pluck the apples and there's a lot of error in the manual process and it's very important to know the exact right number.
Yeah. Sure. Any other? Nobody will choose option 2. Okay. Is anyone want to share your views on this? Anyone wants to share any final opinion? Okay, fine. So now the point here is, yes, one of the main point when you are deciding this, you need to really understand in terms of several factors. Like one person told about the extension and one person told about the need. For me, yes, only this. So this is something. And the most important aspect which I want to highlight here is the predictability and the accuracy, right? So if you are going to do with this kind of technology, it's something like today when we are doing all this kind of information. I'll tell a small example here. So you are now using a kind of screen and getting all these counts, and if you want to ensure that is it right, how are you validating it? This is one of the important aspects in many of the technological advancement areas, that we will do it, but the accuracy and the prediction is something which we really want to enhance much better. So assume one scenario, it will tell that okay, you have 2452 apples in this overall 50 apple trees, but how this will be validated? You whether you have any mechanism to validate? No. So this is something like, if you want to do, like first of all, the person said that okay, uh, manually they are collecting it, they are monitoring it, and the labor cost will be there, but that may be a right option. But if you assume in a scenario that this is evolving in terms of technology on various aspects today, technology is helping us to make it much faster, and in terms of validation we have to really do a lot more things to ensure the correctness of it. Okay, that is something going to happen soon. Definitely this is going to happen, but this kind of area which is a real challenging in uh, any of the area. So like you know about the advancement in each of the area, we are investing a lot in terms of a different kind of algorithm. So when today anyone knows that today now the AI and ML and all other technologies are growing much faster compared to last 10 years back. So is there any specific reason, do you think, that now why people are addressing, many companies are addressing on this aspects? Any idea for you? Because this has been done in 10 years back also, AI is there. So if you have any specific opinion on why during this era probably many of the companies are investing a lot on this kind of technologies. Any views?
My thoughts is that I think
Yeah.
most of the companies are now laying off is happening, right? So,
Mm,
uh, and I have observed also companies also going into automation
mm,
way of
mm,
working. So,
mm,
I think for that reason only, because it replaces humans, right? So,
mm,
if 10% work done by one machine, so
mm,
the cost is much beneficial for the company. So,
mm. Okay.
I think this is one
So
of
you
the
mean to
reasons.
say, okay, fine. So actually, in terms of many scenario, people think that automation going to reduce the labor, but it is something like we want to assume there are certain amount of work with some people are doing in terms of data entry or a kind of a support. So you could see that a drastic change happen in those areas, because these are all predefined models. You do have, okay, when you are going for any banking sector for your query, right, today there is a chatbot is going to help you out. So these kind of area, when repetitive tasks are there, that can be converted. And there are certain area where people think that, okay, even in automotive industry, that the design checks all those things which we are doing automation, which could help the time, but it doesn't going to reduce, because we need to focus more on the productive area. So if you assume that as a productive area, meaning that, okay, what kind of technology we are using to enhance the material of the car, okay, that is something R&D kind of activity. And probably regular activities in each of those divisions, whatever they are doing, which will come and see in the upcoming slides. So that is something like the people feel that, okay, 50 people are going to download this file and then moving into another application, and then they are going to import all this data from another application. So this is something, an activity they want to optimize it. So automation is going to help and increase the productivity. And the output right now today, when we are talking about all this automation, it is not measurable, right? So if I say that after doing 5 to 6 automation in my department, okay, this many people are now come out of this regular tedious activity, they are now focusing on another set of design area. So that is something as a final output. It's not really going to reduce the people. And in terms of a BA, I would say we have a lot more exposure to know now integration across the domains, which is something internally in the automobile. There are several domains are there, we can also integrate it. So with this, I just want to give, whenever you go apply this kind of quest, and this is going to give, and you should be, as I said, since you are all aspiring of BA or existing BA, you can understand that what would be the suggested best option, which something you need to think about it, and how this can be validated, and the accuracy. So this kind of pros and cons would definitely help the product owner to take a right decision. So somebody is telling, okay, this is very short, you can do it fast, but the output after comes into this production, probably they will come out with some kind of issue, which is going to have problem for the product owner. So this kind of pros cons of each solution will have a different overview, and then the decision makers or a strategic makers can decide upon based on the inputs what we are going to provide. Okay. So now I'll just touch base on the functions in the auto industry. So I'll tell the first is the product planning. So which is very, very important when we are doing for any car or something, a vehicle, any kind of automotive industry. They need to have a kind of a planning which involves on the resources, which involves on the parts, which involves on the suppliers, vendors, timeline. So there are a lot of planning activities which would be happening. So this is a very big, so assume that you want to go for shopping. Assume that is just a scenario, I want to try it. You want to go for a shopping without any bucket list of items, right? So this is very challenging for you, because the cost you may increase it. So if you have some kind of a list, assume that, okay, I want to buy these items, and this is my list, so you are going to buy it. And the next part, when you say for the product planning, okay, buy this item is okay, which brand you want to buy, so that is something you want to decide, and how much cost you are going to allocate. If you know all these things, and probably if you go and buy for the shopping, it would be much more easy. Otherwise, it is something like you are just going and purchase, you may purchase something very useful for you, and there are certain other things which may not be used also. We know many kind of products which we are purchasing, right? There are certain area we are not using it also, but we are admired to buy those products and probably just want to explore it. So this product planning in terms of auto industry is very crucial, because today the engineering world, everything goes into the design to cost model. So meaning that whenever there is an new vehicle is going to be launched, probably what they will decide as, okay, this is the budget. So I hope you all know about the Nana story, that they want to build a car within a 1.5 lakhs. So that's the goal, that's the vision that will comes from the CEO level. And there may be another kind of vision, they want to build a luxury car. So then they are not worried about the customers which are on the low level or a mid level. So they will focus more on the upper level, and they are trying to target those audience. So in terms of the product planning, there are several other factors with respect to the region which we are going to launch this product. So is it something we are launching locally, or it's something going to be a domestical product? So for each of these reasons, the regulations, the norms, everything going to vary. So this product planning is something we will have So in simple word, I would say that, okay, I have some idea which I just want to bring into the market. So for that idea, we need to really invest a lot of R&D, and then we are trying to deploy that new feature into the product. So for deploying this new future product, what are the affected departments? Because they want to change the existing design, or they want to change the existing material, they want to change the existing process. Those things will comes under the product planning and comes to the engineering. So what is the primary difference in product planning? Everything in the paper. I would say that I want to buy this, I want to this brand, and I have this specification, everything that will be in the kind of an paper. So now you want to convert that into the engineering design. So this is how your 3D of the vehicle would be looks like. And when we are doing this kind of vehicle, when you do the simulation areas, right, you can understand the failure analysis of it. So this engineering is something very crucial. Many of the OEMs will use a different kind of PLM products. Okay, so they may use a different kind of PLM products for their own use, which is going to integrate with the product database. So the product database is having all the information about the product bill of material. So if I would say bill of materials is something very important in the automobile industry, there are various kind of bill of material exist: engineering BOM, sales BOM, supply BOM, manufacturing BOM. So I don't want to go in detail of that, but each of those BOMs are very crucial for the respective department. So assume one small scenario, I could say that, okay, if you want to assemble the tire, right? So tire is something like every manufacturing OEMs are not directly creating those tires. So they are going to connect with the vendors or the suppliers like Bridgestone, Apollo. So they will get those tires and they want to integrate with their assembly. So if that wheel assembly, it requires that, okay, we are going to choose which vendor or supplier based on the needs, they will choose it. For this wheel assembly itself, there are so many parts will be there. So this is something like each of every parts, engine parts, electronic parts, and seats. So we do have a different kind of parts in engineering. So that will be designed through the 3D software, and then the sketches, everything will be there. And coming to the supply chains, now if it comes that, okay, I want to do this kind of assembly, but it requires a lot of raw materials which is really needed from a different sources. So it maybe comes within the domestic area, or even we need to import. So the supply chain will also have a very big portfolio here in terms of a logistics. Because today, if I want to build a car, all the raw material should be available. If some of the raw material is not available, we need to procure on time, and we should not hold it earlier, that this is also incurs a cost. So this supply chain logistics is very important area, and they do have a different kind of software tools which they are using to track where the parts exist and when it will arrives, and what is the level of quality whichever you are coming, because we do have a several vendors connected. So we need to put the right vendors and give the status. And coming to the manufacturing, so now everything comes into the plant. So the manufacturing starts. So here, if you see in a manufacturing person right now, he will not worry about what is there in engineering BOM, he will not worry about the sales BOM. What he is going to refer, he will refer the manufacturing BOM. So for that, okay, this is something, okay, I need to do this many assemblies. Okay, so they will have all the raw materials in a bunk, and they will directly use all those things, and they will do the specifications for each of those raw materials, and they do the separate process for it. So this manufacturing, it also includes the inspections, the quality checks, the painting, the process, lot of other areas which will happen here. So in this chain, if there is any problem comes, right, it is a very big cost. So until the product planning and engineering, we do have some kind of conversation between the product teams and the engineering design team to have some kind of changes which is possible. But once it's go for the production line, it will be a very big cost involved, because if there is any specific change comes, so they need to really very cautious when it comes to the manufacturing side. And quality is very important, because each and every vehicle when we are doing, there are several number of quality checks will be done. So assume one scenario, if you say airbag, which is something you want to flash it in 0.8 seconds, means that they want to validate and test it. So, and another feature, if they want to drive on a different weather conditions, this car is need to go in terms of an different kind of regions, right? So if it is a hill or it may be a terrain, so we need to try all this kind of various condition. And if the floor is wet, what would happen, the suspensions, all this quality checks will be done. And even in terms of decibel level, in terms of the sound, right, horn, and we do have some kind of anoic chambers to validate the quality of this sound, and they want to ensure that this is adhere to the standards or the norms which has been provided by the governments. And then sales and marketing, which is the one of the most important, because this is the area where it is connected to the users. So though we have a very big chain of process happening inside in the organization, but they are the front runners to connect with the customers, and they need to showcase what are the features available and what kind of benefits they are going to get out of it, and what are the new features. So this sales and marketing is one more thing, and they are also one of the input providers to define the product. Okay, assume some of the customers is asking this kind of feature, so they may also one of the persons to do it in terms of several forums, right, in social media. A lot of people will give their comments and the feedback, so all this comes into this kind of a product. So that would also helps to introduce a facelift model, that will also helps to introduce some new features. So this is very important in terms of sales and marketing, which is very important for any of the OEMs who are going to do. And controlling the cost, so this is very important, because as I mentioned, in all these phases there are a lot of cost involved. So we do have several kind of cost control mechanism to make sure. Okay, assume that in terms of 2 years down the line we want to launch a car, means so they do have a prediction of this is the cost of the product, and this is what the marketing cost, and this is what we need to branding all our things in a different exposure. So all this kind of cost information will also comes into this area. So predominantly these are all the major functions which we are using in auto industry. In all these areas we have a several kind of different softwares we are using, legacy to the modernized softwares, and it involves the product evolutions also happening. And now in terms of the legacy to modernization, a lot of softwares are moving into the cloud, and we do have a several kind of dashboarding. So this kind of exposure is readily available. Many of the industries now looking. So in typically I just want to bring this view to all, because in many of the organization they do have a several departments. 10 years back, if I would say that I'm working in a supply chain, I don't have access to view the data from the product planning, I don't have access to view the engineering data, and if I am a person from the sales and marketing team, I don't have access. So this is a kind of a restrictions available. But now there are certain concepts which we are doing, that a kind of a dashboard which could be a generic information which can be shared across all the teams. So there is only a specific or confidential information they want to make it very confidential. Other than that, they are very open to expose all this information, which is very easy, and the turnaround time of fixing some issues, which is also quite easy now. So now if you consider all this area, so this is something I just want to bring in terms of auto industry. Any questions in this? Okay, so now I'll go to this importance of BA role. So now so far I have covered on the auto industry part, but this is very important, right? I said in the beginning many of them are a different domains altogether, but I just want to bring this flavor: 7 focus areas for a user and 7 focus area for a product. So now you forget about the automobile, and wherever you go in terms of a different domains, the first and foremost for a user level, if you are a user, you are also one of the user of using a banking website, you are also booking some travel, so you are also one of the user. So what are the things which you really want to have the product? Ease of use. So something, if it is very tough to navigate or unable to find, then you won't go for that. So ease of use is very important, and the quality, so which you want to make sure that okay, whenever I click this, it's work fine, it doesn't crash or it doesn't throw any error. So all these things are working fine. And the business value for any of the product, if I would want to use this product, probably what value I'm going to get out of it. If the task is success for me, yes, I have done it. And it's faster, yes, it's done faster. And it's easy, yes, I have done it. And reduce my time. So if I say that okay, I have a very good product, it will work very fine, but it will be very slow. You may not really okay with that product, because all the functionality, there is no crash, nothing going to happen, and it may take additional 5 minutes because of the infra what we have. If I told to the customer or a user, they won't agree with this. And the productivity, which is something for a user, you want to have the productivity which will be much more faster. And the process improvement, the user will think about the process improvement. So assume you are an I can tell one sample example. In this case, everybody, we are using a mobile phone and we are using a WhatsApp and other thing. If there are certain features, you know very well that this kind of features is something not there exist in the product, but you will not go ahead and report okay, this functionality is there. So I think many of you know, in WhatsApp now they have introduced the edit feature, right? So if you type for something wrong, you can also edit it. But this kind of feature was not exist before. But many of us maybe done this, okay, maybe through typing it will be mistake, right? So we'll do this, but we never report this. So they identify this kind of features internally or through from a different users, and they improve it. So this might definitely going to help. And the satisfaction is something, okay, they are coming again and use this product, and that would be much more on a satisfaction level. So this could be in terms of you, irrespective of whatever the domain or whatever be the technology. So user will think all these aspects. If we also as an user think on these factors, definitely we will propose a right solution for them. And the other part, which user will not worry about it, but it's something like as a BA, we need to integrate with the development team and the user to try to find out a right technology. Because many times when we are choosing a different, because today you can choose RPA, you can choose AI, you can choose ML, and you can choose an Excel automation. Lot of different options are there. You can move that into the cloud, and a lot of different technologies are exist. But we need to rightly pick the right technology what this particular product demands. And data governance and data integrity, because these two are pretty much very important nowadays. Because in terms of cyber security, we are moving a lot of things into the cloud, so it's very important we are make sure that the data is under surveillance. So there is a governance is really needed. And how the integrity will also helps, because as I mentioned in my earlier slides, that there are several departments, they are using a data. Okay, for supply chain will have some data, for sales, but the perspective of the data would be much more different. Salesperson will look at data in a different way, and supply chain will look at data in different way. But definitely they are also expecting, okay, if I assume that how many number of cars sold last month, then this is the data for a sales team, right? But the again, the product planning team also, why this car is not selling successfully, because what are the major areas why people are not choosing this, they will have a different kind of perspective. So this is something in sales team will think about, okay, we need to campaign more on advertising or a branding, which is something missing. And the product itself, they will think that okay, this feature if we are introducing, and then we'll try to analyze with the other kind of competitors. That is also one more important fact. As I mentioned, cyber security is today many organizations now do have a separate kind of a divisions or an IT. They do have a cyber security model. And then sustainability. So this is also very important. So when you are going to provide a solution to the particular business group, right? So they may have, okay, this particular product, they want to sustain it for more than 5 years or 10 years, or they do want to have some interim solution just to make sure that due to budget and other constraint, they don't want to invest much more. Maybe after 2 years, they want to go into a different approach. So then it is a different way. And compatibility, which is also very important. So I develop a software. Suddenly, if somebody comes and asks, I want to have this software in mobile also. And then you need to understand in terms of compatibility, okay, this software you want to have it in a different devices, or you want to have it in only in internal, and you want to extend this to your customers or suppliers. So we need to have to understand. And if there is going to different kind of devices, the compatibility is very much important. And the infrastructure whatever we are talking also, will have much more impact on these areas. So today we are now eliminating the cost of infrastructure through cloud, and but we are trying to have some kind of storage space, and we are increasing the storage space. So this is also very important, but at the same time the backup. So even if you are saying that I need a backup of every day, which is possible, or I need a backup of every 1 week, so those demands will comes from the business cases. So this could be all the product side. If I say all these terms to the user group, right, they pretty much not interested. Okay, if you say that, okay, due to data integrity I'm not going to provide this function, right, they may not understood, because they will say that why this is I need this functionality. So it's very important, these two factors we need to really make a clear statement that why we are not doing this or why we are choosing this, and then we are going to convince with the user group or the product owner. That would be much more interesting for all. Okay. Coming to the importance of BA role in auto industry. So majorly we classify as an upstream, development, and industrialization. So these three are the major areas which we are classifying. When I say in the upstream, it's more on a strategy and the market research. So for the next 2030, a lot of companies are working on EV vehicles. Okay, so now many companies started showcasing their EV products, and then it's right now it's also available in two-wheelers and the four-wheelers also. But we need to understand the infrastructure setup for the EV is also need to be enhanced, and the government also need to support. Maybe in 2030 they may say that okay, this many EV stations will be there. So that is one of the core point. If you say in terms of Europe or US, they are advanced in that area, because that's why the EV is now selling. And now we are also targeting some certain increase in those areas, so that market research is going to happen. And now I'll put another question. Is it EV is an alternate? No, we do have other challenges in terms of EV. So we do have alternate fuels, which is something comes, and hydrogen. So there are other areas which is also all the automobile industries are doing an investment. EV is not the solution, and probably there are other alternate areas. Right now the R&D is also happening. And then strategy, in terms of a business strategy, which is very important, because how we are going to place in the market, right? So who is our customers and the target customers, which we want to really make a clear strategy on this. And development, because this upstream, many of the companies are doing a different kind of tools within their area. And next comes into the development. As I mentioned, development is nothing but the design and the process, and the CA is more on the simulation. So in this areas, if you say that, okay, I have all this information available in the upstream, I need to convert those things into the development, and I also need to simulate this, and I also ensure the process in place. And then comes to the industrialization, which is also talks about the manufacturing and the after sales. So quickly, I will tell one small scenario which can connect all these things. Okay, there may be a certain kind of a situation in terms of the development. One of the user is trying to find out, okay, there is some kind of an issue with this particular product. So he is going back to the upstream team and say that, okay, when I do like this, there will be an impact in the manufacturing. So now this product planning team should understand and listen what kind of challenges which is shown by this particular users in the development group. So they need to align. It's kind of an digital mockup. They want to align all these things, and then they need to provide a right solution. So there is a hand in hand connection with the BAs across the domain. So someone say, okay, for my product, yes, it's working fine, and for your product you want to change. So now that's why I told that if the people are connected with respect to different domain, they will get a lot more understanding. That's the transversal kind of overview, and the end-to-end flow, which is also helps to give a big picture of it, and then that will provide a right solution in this. Okay, so now what as a BA will do in this area. So this is very important for you all, that okay, define the concept and strategy in detail after aligning with the stakeholder, because sometimes when there is a kind of a comes in terms of a different views from the business strategy. This is why I mentioned on the stakeholder alignment. I may be interacting with some of my primary stakeholder, but I may forget to include the secondary stakeholders. Okay, so now it is very important you could maintain the stakeholder logs of particular problem, and then you need to connect. There may be certain obstacles you will have that you don't have a inputs, but it's very important to make sure if there are other stakeholders, you have to make the list of it and try to connect and get an alignment. Otherwise, it would be a tedious job at the end, because if you are miss the stakeholder, then it could be a problem. Okay, so this is something on a very important in the upstream side, and it is essential in all the companies, and in whatever be the area, the BA need to make sure the alignment. And then in comes the right design and the process with the best solution after aligning with the IT and the business teams. Because many times, okay, today I can clearly say the business is also having a good amount of knowledge on the IT side. Okay, it's long back I would say that the business are very much not interested to know what's happening in the IT, but now they also understand the trends and they also understand the technology, but they are not working it. That's the only problem. So it's very important we need to respect them and also try to give some valuable inputs to them, and they themselves can realize, okay, this is something, okay, I need to change. Yes, exactly, I can understand this, because they are not adamant nowadays, because they are also really want to come along with the technology and they want to move faster. So we need to really provide, but you can't bluntly say that this is not possible. Rather, you want to give the pros and cons and try to give a clear explanations to them, and once they realize, they themselves will give some different views or suggestion which will be much more useful for all. So during the development stage, as I mentioned in the CAD or process CA, it's all a collaboration with all the different kind of users. So whenever when I'm connecting with the CAD user, they don't know about the CA. Whenever I connect with the CA, they don't know about the side of the process side. So it's very natural, because they are just giving this kind of information, working on a silos, but we can really connect all the dots and try to project the overview to them, and they can clearly understood this. Coming to the industrialization, it's very important for a BA how they are going to influence in this area. It's define the approach to get the feedback and integrate with the evolution of the product, because these persons are right now. I met one of the sales guy. They are telling that the sales persons are telling that whatever we do, I can sell. So that's the confidence level they are talking about. So now this salesperson will have a lot more information when they are connecting with a different kind of users group, and what is their expectation, they are collecting it, and they also need to have a proper mechanism to feed in all these inputs back to the teams. So this is very important, because it's just like, okay, we are collecting it and we are storing all the information, but we need to really do some kind of data analysis on that area and try to provide some kind of and suggestions to them. That is going to help us. So these are all the primary areas, and now the BAs are working across all these domains. So now coming to the opportunities of BA in auto industry. So now I initially asked the question that how many of you are working on a domain, right? Automobile, healthcare, insurance. So in my view, business analysts can work across any domains, because the only point is they just want to understand what is all about this domain, and then you want to apply the basic skills of the BA. That's all. But what is really very much important for a BA is because you need to be much more transversal to know a lot across the domains, which is going to help your career path. And also it also helps, because not only I'm saying that, okay, somebody from healthcare comes into the auto industry, it's really a challenge. Somebody from auto industry going to healthcare is a challenge. But you're all going to connect with the users and work with the products with the web based or even with the Windows based, or in terms of a different kind of tools. That's it. But the main challenges and the opportunities, what I understood, I just want to summarize here. Okay, strengths today for a BA is use of latest technology and learn a lot of new skills. Because earlier we just want to be like, okay, writing the user stories and then do the testing and the validations, all those things. Now you have opportunities to learn a lot of new tools in terms of technology side, and you can also know how on various areas. Now you're working with the DevOps, you're working with the cloud, and you are working with the data lake. A lot of things are available, and all these things you don't really need to do a lot on a development activity, rather you should also need to know the know-how part of it, and propose new ideas to adapt the products to modernization sustainable. Because as I mentioned that first you are also one of the user, you are using the product and you have some pain points, and but you are never raised this as a pain point because you know, okay, this is how it works. So probably you need to come up with some new ideas to adapt the products to the modernization, which is very, very important for the sustainability, and work along with the business and provide effective solutions with the ease help of broader knowledge. This is something very important nowadays. We will be very much cautious on our own deliveries, right? So I'm working as a PA for one particular product, and I'm every time I'm giving an 100% delivery on time with the quality. Yes, I'm very happy. But when I say what is the output of this, okay, when I'm connecting this with another product, there may be certain challenges happening. So we can try to see the end-to-end flow of how this kind of product features going to help the other streams or even other applications, and try to find out some suggestions which can really going to help us. So these are all the opportunities. So now it is very important the BA should take a lead, or I would say that kind of owner. In general, they would say that who's having a very good vision about the product, like product owner they are talking. The next to that, now BAs are really having a very good knowledge about the product roadmap, because we don't really need to demand that I need to know the product roadmap. You also have a potential to define the product roadmap and propose to your business owners or the product owners, which is very, very important. And the weakness, okay, this is something which from my experience and when I'm connecting with a lot of people, what are the primary weakness? Okay, develop a mindset of unlearn and relearn new things. So to just to give an insight that I have been working as an starts with the development and then moves into the lead and then migration project manager, and after certain years of experience I move into the functional side. So typically when I'm connecting with the user, I usually think that, okay, what would be the right solution? So it is very important for me that whenever somebody is asking, I know that problem what is going to happen in the development side, I know how we need to solve. So I'll directly come out with the answers at that point of time. So one of my mentor who told that you have a lot of things, but first what you want to really need to understand here, you need to get all the inputs from the user, you unlearn your development points, so that just listen them. Uh, Probably that is one of the message which I want, because I'm just sharing my own experience that whenever somebody is working on those areas and changing the domains or changing the field, right, it comes to automatically to our conscious mind. So we need to really put that aside and then listen. Then you will propose all your ideas. You don't need to disclose in front of the user group, or you don't need to discuss in front of the development team. Just listen, and then you come up with your own views and take it. And the other part is afraid to take ownership and drive to align with the stakeholders, because we many of the people right now what they are talking about, okay, I'm very comfortable with this particular area, so I'm ready to connect with these people. But when I'm going to get the support in terms of a BA, I would say, if you want to align with your DevOps guys, or you want to align with the architect, you want to align with your lead devs on certain topics, right? So you can drive and probably take ownership of certain areas. But this is not like, okay, you are not doing their job. You just try to say, okay, this is something I need to know from you so that I can propose some new idea. Probably you just give this inputs, probably they are going to give back to you. It's not like we are going to get into their area. It's more like we need to understand, and then we can try to provide a right solution for them. So that is how I would consider as a weakness. And today's threat, so whatever we are talking today in terms of the area, data integrity and the data security are the major threats which I would say today, because of the technology front. And opportunities, today we have a very good opportunity for a business analyst role. They are going to collaborate more to understand the big picture and provide the right proposal. So now, as I mentioned the word collaborate, it's not going to happen automatically. Like, you have to connect with the people, you have to build the network of several subject matter expert and try to get the big picture and then provide the right proposal. And finally, BA can take up a different kind of roles, because many of my BA team members will ask a question that what would be their career path. So they could be like a product owner or a product manager in future, if they have a pretty good mindset that they themselves know about the in and out of the product. And I would also strongly recommend, they are not going to manage only one product. You can have a very big portfolio. You can also increase a kind of a global product owner or global product manager in terms of the future, if you have all this kind of skills. So this could be the potential opportunities in terms of the auto industry. So coming to the conclusion, I just want to give a heads up in terms of apply the quest rule. So which is very important to detail out the needs and explore new areas, which is today we have plenty of new opportunities. And that's why I want to make sure that you can explore the new areas and broaden the BA exposure to different kind of domains or fields, and then you can become a transfer. And mindset to drive, because this is why I mentioned as a mindset is, probably we may think, okay, this is the role of the product owner, or this is the role of the architect, this is the role of the development, but we will try to build the mindset to drive and take ownership. Then only I think we think that this is my product, so I want to enhance this product. I want to make sure this product is much more user friendly and this product is much more productive. So if you take that kind of ownership, and then you do, and learn and adapt the right technology, because this is a keyword I want to mention here. Many times we are applying the technology, but it may fail, because the problem is we are not rightly choose the technology. Probably sometimes, okay, assume you are using an as a data lake and doing all these transfers for every day and populating this data. Is it really needed in this scenario or not? Which is very important question. And we are using a chatbot for some of the application. People, are they really using these chatbots to find out the answers or all those things? So we need to really build the need first. Okay, what is the primary need? And then we try to adapt. Okay, many of the features are complaining that I'm unable to search this functionality, or I'm unable. So there may be a lack in terms of a training. So probably we need to have a developing a kind of a training model which can be attached. So that could be some more interesting facts. You need to build what kind of business value. So today I can say many of the product owner nowadays, they are also talking about what is the business value for a future level, not even a product, in a future level. So if I'm going to deploy this feature into this product, am I getting any kind of return on investments? So that level they are now talking about. So it's very, very important when they want to really choose the right technology. This is very important point for us. So these are all the conclusion which I just want to give my inputs on this area. So any Q&A, we can take it up. Manivel and Amar, over to you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for that wonderful session. The forum is open for any questions. I don't see any questions on the question board. So if you guys have any questions, you can unmute and you can ask Mr. Saran again. Yeah, it's a perfect start. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think I will start with maybe that's a good point. So thank you, Saranan, for the informative session. So I have one question because uh, on the stages of domains functions, right? So you told we have a product planning, and then the engineering, and then the supply chain, and then manufacturing. So since we as a BA, business analyst, and we have a dedicated ways of operations in each domain, for sure. So in your experience, because I saw your profile is more on the product development stages on that, right?
Yes.
So what was really making you a link between each domain? So did you find any how you see yourself? Probably you got an opportunity in multiple domains to work on. So because personally, when we are working in a domain, we are very focused to that alone. But when I saw your profile and you've been diverse, so how it happened? So can you give us some how we can open that?
So predominantly, Amar, today all this domains right now connected with the data. Okay, so that is the first and foremost. So as I mentioned in my information, a lot of teams are now asking about the dashboarding. So in terms of dashboarding, in the sense means, okay, somebody from the product planning wants to view a data from this particular sales and marketing information, right? So today, how are we going to transfer this kind of data across? So in simple word, I would say that, okay, there is one issue. Assume there is one issue in the engineering side. Is it going to affect the supply chain, or is it going to affect the manufacturing, or is it going to affect the quality? Today we don't have a mechanism. So if I want to build this kind of an issue dashboard, so if any particular issue going to happen on this particular part, assume one scenario, in that particular part, the issue occurs means it is going to affect these three domains. If we know that information upfront, probably, which is very very important for an product owner to make sure that I need a kind of an provision for this kind of feature. So today, product owner will ask that any kind of engineering issues which is going to because I can tell one small, there is one issue, there is no impact with the other domains. There is another issue which is an impact with the other domains. Okay, so which is most costliest one?
Okay.
So that is first part in terms of the data integrity across the domains. Okay, so that's the first part. And the second part is the user itself. So earlier days, right now, when there are different departments are there, right? So they pretty much working only on that particular department. So now, as part of flexi model or a shared resources, right, people are going to work across the different kind of domains. So there are certain people who works on engineering, who wants to work on a CAE, right, in a design to CAE, they want to work along the different areas. So now the tool, right, today the tool we built for a particular group of users. So if I am a sales guy, I'm very very much comfortable on using the sales application because I was used to do this. But if I put somebody else comes into this area, they are pretty much not very new, right? So we are now seeing that different kind of diversified users are now comes into the department. Transversally they want to build the knowledge. So the tool itself is something like should be very ease of use. It should not be like in long term back, if you know, the procurement guys knows where to fill all those details very clearly because they will be only on the procurement, so they will not move to another department, right? So now they are also mobilizing the resources itself. It is also a big challenge for the product because that should be much more easy to use, because I can say that if I am a user of this particular department, I'm very comfortable in using and the productivity will be increased. But today I have a new joiners comes in, they don't have much kind of exposure to this kind of product. So this is why I think the application, so if I would say all the application would have a same kind of UI and UX, right, it's very easy, right? So whoever comes to the one department to another department, they can easily use this. So that is also a quite challenging task nowadays. In terms of users are also changing, that brings lot more challenges to the product. So they are not really know how to use the product, they are not really utilizing all those features. So many, I think you all know that out of 100%, right, only 60% of the features are only used, 40% never used at all. So
Okay.
these are all the points.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, hi.
Yes.
Hi, Saran.
Yeah.
This is Manivel.
Yes.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Like, when you have new business analysts,
Yes.
maybe business analysts as freshers,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't have the visibility on the automobile industry, how it works.
Mm.
So when you have new BAs joining your team, like, what is the kind of expectation you have from them? Anything specifically, from an automobile industry perspective?
Okay, so right now in terms of business analyst whoever comes new, I need to have only one information. one information, it is very important that they need to really have the aspiration and the willingness to work across any domain, because that going to drive them to ask the right questions. Understanding this domain is not a very difficult job, whatever be the domain, I would say, but how you are going to apply when you are working with this particular product. So majority right now, I have been successfully deployed a few people from a different domains into the automobile industry, and the first hesitation is they may think that it's quite challenging, or in terms of the domain they will think that, okay, I don't understand this technology or the terms, or probably they will not understand the acronyms what we are using. So that are all the initial challenges which they do face the beginning stage. So we do have kind of a orientation on that particular area. Even if I comes to the insurance, there will be a lot of new terms and the words will be used. So the primary thing which they want to really understand is the end-to-end flow of this particular product, what they are doing. And if they understood that, it may be a month's time, or probably in terms of some of the complex products, it may also take 2 to 3 months also. After that, it's something like they can easily put their value, because some of the products which they works on the banking domain in terms of this issues whatever they handle, right, they have also come up with some kind of log mechanism to find out the solutions for those kind of issues. So that is really going to help them to apply this. So this is the primary important. But in certain area, I would say that, okay, I can tell one example. Somebody, right, who works on an healthcare, right? So the person interacted, they are very open to work on any domain. So that's what their understanding from them. Then we put into a different domain. So the first and foremost is they had some kind of a real challenge at the beginning stage. So the first important step what we did is, okay, ask them to do some kind of testing on the entire features, the products. So that really helps to understand, and now they are right now able to crack it out. So we need to apply those kind of principle, Manivel. So based on the person, and probably the willingness is also important, and they also need to explore the end to end of it. And orientation, I think, in terms of domain wise, I don't think that is not a real challenge for anybody.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thanks for the
Thank you.
response. I see there is one question from Arun Kumar.
Sure. Okay.
What are the qualifications to become a BA, like
Hmm.
a degree or a course?
No, it's not for a BA. I think today what we are right now looking is, okay, there are two things. One, many times when you are working in terms of any kind of product as a developer, or a QA analyst, or probably a kind of a functional kind of a person, they can easily come and play. So any kind of degree, it's like a bachelor degree, it's enough, and they can easily comes into the product. The only point is you should also have a kind of an, skills to communicate with the different kind of stakeholders, and probably you have to represent yourself, that you take ownership. Because I could see some of the members with very uh, less experience, like 4 to 5 years also, they comes into the BA role after the development, and they are also doing very well. And there are certain BA, they are very much experienced, working on a different kind of areas, like they work on a quality for 10 years and 12 years, and then they want to change into the PA role. So those kind of people also now choosing, because they are very much used with the product, and they know in and out of the functionality, but they are doing the same repetitive activity. So they want to really want to have a challenging role. So maybe of a product evolution or product enhancement, that would be happen. For a degree level, I don't think that is not really a bottleneck with the
Constraint, yeah.
constraints, and probably they can take it up.
Okay, okay. Thank you. I hope Arun got the
Yes,
answer that you're looking for.
it's clear, Arun.
All right. If there is no other question, I just have one
Okay.
more question.
Yeah.
This is uh, this is probably based on the recent developments in the EV
Okay.
EV segment itself. So I've been seeing that a couple of the automobile industry players
Mm.
are
Mm.
not on the bandwagon of EV.
Hmm.
Especially Toyota is very vocal against EV, and they are,
Hmm.
trying to build something on their
Alternate.
own,
Yes.
right? So what kind of interests me to know is like what is so definitely they have their own analysis team
Yes. Yes.
who has done their analysis to tell that EV is not the future, right?
Hmm. Yes.
What is that, that they are seeing that the rest of the automobile industry is not?
Okay. So this is one. Okay. Assume if all the vehicles running on the road becomes a battery, EV vehicle, right? So the disposal of this kind of battery, it's again a problem,
Mm,
right? So in future, many of the companies today they are comes into the EV. Yes, EV is going to rule the market in upcoming years. Definitely each company, but nobody is going to be in a fully electric. So they are now currently working on a different kind of an alternate mechanism, hydrogen or even fuel cell technology. So there are a lot of investment is happening in R&D side in terms of this area. So today Toyota may thinks that okay, we want to, because this IC engine, internal combustion engine, will sustain, right? It doesn't over, so it will also come into the market, but the percentage of EV is going to drastically increase in the upcoming years, which is definitely all the companies may launch a different kind of EV cars to make sure that we are also having an EV cars, and it's in the market. But there are certain companies, not only Twitter, there are other few companies also. They are now trying to make sure that they are not going into the fully electric mode, or they do some research on the alternate, which is going to rule the market again. Okay, what next of EV? So that is something today many of the companies are doing it. And probably I think even Tesla is also now they are saying goodbye to EV. So these are all the some changes which is happening in the outside environment, because everybody thinks that EV is an alternate for our petrol and diesel. That's how it has been started. But now there are certain companies started looking for an alternates, which is going to happen in the future. So they may invest now because that's their business strategy, which we are not really aware. But many companies are also having this kind of similar strategy exist.
okay, okay. That's a great
Yeah.
insight.
Yes.
Definitely, something, you mentioned Tesla is also looking at other
Yes. 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 Yes.
alternate fuels. So that's something,
Yes. Because they may invest a lot of time on R&D, and probably they will comes into the market as a first, right? So that is what going to do.
okay. All right, I don't, any other questions from anyone? There's nothing on the question board. Uh,
Okay. I have a few questions to ask.
Yes. Yes, Santosh.
yes.
Okay. Uh, few words about me, then you will understand that question.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, I have total 17 years. Okay. So out of
Okay.
which, like, few years I was into domain. Okay.
Hmm.
So then I learned SAP. For a few years, I learned as a SAP FICO consultant. Then my current role is a business role,
Okay.
business analyst role
Hmm.
into SAP FICO related requirements.
Okay.
Okay. So my question here is, we had a team like where we had multiple BAs, like one with the sales domain,
Yes.
another with the production domain,
Hmm.
uh, and so 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 assume this is the situation. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And now my when I try to look for other opportunities, like, so I'm into healthcare domain, so when I try to look
Okay.
for other opportunities, uh, so since my background is finance, okay,
Hmm.
uh, so the opportunities are like, so far I'm getting opportunities like BA with Sapico or BA with finance domain.
Yes. Yes.
So the business analysts are basically domain based roles,
Yes.
or or there are persons who also work like BA with multiple domains. So my
Okay.
question is this: like,
Yeah.
they are in one particular industry, but they are working for 2 3 domains. Is it like that, or BAs with one single domain only?
Yeah, it's a good question, Santosh. So pretty much like when you talk about this BA role, if you see any of the JD for particular domain, no, they will have this kind of an input that okay, I'm looking for a BA who works on the healthcare. I'm looking for a BA in automotive industry, which is a very very common if you go for a in terms of a resume, right? So that's what you talk about. So today, what is happening here is okay. There are certain areas right now when we are look into this kind of when you talk about SAP or even talk about the Salesforce. So there is a kind of a strategy. I'm not sure whether other companies or what kind of strategy are using. If this kind of domain would be an optional, I would say in terms of optional. When they say if it is a mandatory, meaning that okay, if I want to have one BA who needs to work on a team center, which is one of the application, the knowledge of team center is really needed, then probably there are so many features connected with the team center. Okay, this is what I would expect for somebody comes into it and deploy it faster into the product. Okay, so that the time which I'm taking to orient this person to the new domain, and probably they do have a kind of an learning co-working model, and then they will deploy that. If you have the time, then they will invest these people. Definitely that is going to help us. If there are certain area they do want to have a immediate in that scenario, they may apply. But still I'm telling, the experience what you have in terms of the process, the agile skills, and in terms of the BA areas which you have been worked, probably we need to understand, like when you are going to ask, okay, if I would say that a person like a BA, if there is an ask comes from the finance BA role, whether the BA will apply for it or not. You are from healthcare or you are from a different, so what is your view? If you see something a BA role which quite interesting, but you know for nothing about that particular domain, are you really interested to look into that domain or not?
Definitely we look for the domain which we had experience and
Yeah,
get the
exactly.
knowledge.
So that's the myth, because that's the mindset of the people that okay, I'm more on this particular area, so I want to be a subject matter expert on this area. But if you see, when persons are working on a different industries, like I have worked for 2 3 years in one domain and I have been worked for a different areas in another domain, so this kind of skill is going to really added value for the BA. Because if the BA is not fixed to any particular domains, rather they can work across, because that's an opportunity where you can get in terms of different areas. So a person works on Salesforce, comes and works on another area which is something going to be connected with the other teams, right? So they do have a kind of different exposure, so it's going to be an asset for the person. But at the same time, the person also really need to willing to take up, and could be a purpose behind it, why I want to change over all these domains, and what would be my, see, I said in a BA role, what is the roadmap? So what are you expecting for the next 5 years or 10 years? So if I want to be in this particular domain and I want to be an SME, or I want to be a product owner, then go with that path. So you want to work on a different area transversely, I want to get into the end to end, and I want to have a bigger picture than this, then you have to broaden your areas. And the opportunity right now, it's something like that will be there in each and every JD, but it's something like as I mentioned, that only the time frame which you are going to adapt, that's it. But after that, I know a lot of people have been successfully, even without knowing any of the tools, they have been successfully doing a BA role. Okay, that's why I just mentioned this is really a good area to share this information to all.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
My uh, okay. So I have another question.
Yeah. Yes.
Actually, when I was trying to explore this BA role, right? So
Mm,
I heard about this. They also term another term business analytics, right? So
mm.
like when I try to look for new offers, right, I have seen many companies, though be like whatever you have covered, that is there,
Yeah.
but apart
Mm.
from that, as a value addition, or rather a job description also has like you must have a skill on SQL, you must have a skill on
Yes.
Power BI.
Yes. Yes. Power BI.
So
Yes.
this all, I mean, this is a mandatory, or
No,
is it
no,
optional?
it's not a mandatory, because what I would say here, that's why I told today we are as a BA, the expectation of the BA is also to know a lot of because suppose I said in terms of SQL, you don't need to write a kind of a complex query. It's something like you need to know how to execute the query. Okay, so that's the level. And probably you can easily say, okay, how to fetch some of the tables or columns. Then okay, pretty much with 1 or 2 days of training you can also do this kind of query, and that is possible. Okay, the other part is in terms of API, you want to, as I mentioned earlier, you want to share the data across the application. You want to use kind of a different APIs. So you need to know how to consume this and how to use this kind of API inbound services or output. So this is a very simple, I would say, in terms of 2-3 days, if you are going to work on this topics, you know how to do the know-how part. And how you want to, like a beginner, I would say that, okay, this is really good for you. And you want to really want to go to the next level, on an intermediate level, you can also try to see, okay, I want to really debug this API. How can I debug this API? Yes, that is also possible. But today, I'm telling that when they ask this kind of things, it's something like they are not expecting you to write an API or write an kind of an query. It's one thing like which is going to help the team, that they can easily find out certain things from you if you are going to help the team. So even when you say about the Power BI or even a data lake or a Spotfire today, it is something ask comes. But if your product have those kind of features with the development team or even with the other architects, you can have some kind of interaction to get to know what's happening. This is going to help you a lot to so if I want you to know about what is the cloud and how the data is stored in the cloud and how they are tokenizing this information, so you need to understand these terminologies, which is going to really help you. And when somebody is asking from a business side on this kind of information, this could also really helps you. So that's the level I would like to see as a beginner level. Then exploring to the next stage would be on a intermediate. After that, I think that would be much more easy for you to excel in any of the areas.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Santosh.
Thanks, Santosh, for those questions. Okay. I have provided the link to the feedback in the chat. So you can provide your feedback of this session today. And we are at the top of the hour, so I think there are no more questions as well. All right then. Uh, Thanks, Sarvana Kumar. Thanks for
Yeah.
this wonderful session. It was a very good insight in the automobile industry. Business analysts being mostly from an IT-driven organization, so it's definitely a kind of interesting to see uh, the areas where automobile industry focuses on. And definitely, it will be helpful for those who have attended the session today. Right. Thanks once again for the presentation.
Yeah.
Today. Thanks everyone for joining. Make sure you provide your feedback before logging off. Right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sarvan.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank
Thank
you.
you.